Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Wuthering Waves reaction. Today we have Lupa's EP. This is Running for Your Life. It's requested by GM Faraz Khan, and I'm going to be listening to this today. This is not the same character as my prior ones, being Frolova, so I don't know what to expect out of this character as far as the sound goes, how that might change. It might be similar, might be completely different genre-wise, but I won't know if I don't listen. So without further ado, let's go!
You can run, you can try to hide, just know I'm gonna have you running for your.
Why does this vocalist sound familiar? I'm gonna have to hear more of that voice. Ooh. Ooh.
I've been waiting a long time. Wrote a story that I wish wasn't mine. Fell in love with the bad.
Why does this sound so familiar?
Got the weight of the whole world in.
Like, even the song sounds familiar, the vocalist too, but
I'll be fine.
there's no way I've heard this before, right?
Can't control my own feelings. Come on now, give me one reason.
Like, I don't play Wuthering Waves. I shouldn't
Another sleepless
recognize a month-old upload.
I can't control my own feelings. Give me one reason, and I'm screaming. You can run, you can try to hide. Just know I'm gonna break you. No one's gonna save you. Hear me roar, I want nothing more. Just know I'm gonna.
Oh shit, it's Casey! Oh, this is Casey Lee Williams, isn't it? That just hit me like a freight train.
What did they expect? I'm coming for everybody until there's no one left. As long as my heart stays.
Okay, that's not.
There ain't no time to rest. I'm a little bit obsessed, and that's why I be coming for your neck. I'm coming for another pound of flesh. Got you running for a place to hide, but it'll be a waste of time. I'm patient. Only bite when the game's
Ooh, that backtrack.
That's a good enough reason. Your heart's getting stuck between
That
my
like
front
cranking Civ, that was sick.
I was done and I'm leaving. Nope, the thing's deep and I'm screaming.
You can run, you can try to hide. Just know
I think what sold me
break you.
on it being Casey was that high register, that high harmony in the back. She has such a characteristic trait in that specific range. Ooh, that's a neat transition. The song itself still feels weirdly familiar. I can't really place why.
Growing stronger with every soul I take. You can run,
One more rep on the chorus.
and just when you thought
Changing it up too.
I'm leaving, know the things
Keep it fresh to the end.
screaming. I can't control my own feelings. Give me one reason. Give me one reason. I can't control my own feelings.
It's still eerily familiar.
Give me one reason.
I always look it up in my own videos to make sure I haven't heard something before.
I can't control my own feelings.
I know I haven't heard this one. Even though it's a month old, I still looked anyway. But that sounds so familiar. Why? Why does that sound familiar? Maybe the producer for it has done something I've heard before. Maybe it's just, you know, like a tonal similarity with something else they've done. Weird, but it was fun. I have this aching feeling that I know what that's from, even though I should have no clue, you know? All right, so I just checked out the composer to see if I was going crazy, and not really. I actually know the composer by name, Nicholas Chiari. That's Grabbitz. I know Grabbitz. I know a lot of their work. I've heard Grabbitz before many a times in my years in the EDM scene, so that's really neat to have somebody that I did not realize that this song would be produced by somebody I know. That's always a pleasant surprise when that does does happen, but it does explain why I can tell what their sound is and why I was so weirdly familiar with it. Like, I could not place it. It's been a while since I've heard a Grabbitz song, but at the same time, it does make sense that, you know, how memory works. You're like, wait a minute, that sounds so ambiguously familiar. I know I've heard that somewhere. That specific sound. I've also heard a lot of like this general like EDM dance, like electro trancey, you know, just very pulsy and driven, just kind of going straight through the song. It's got this like 80s kind of retro synthwave sort of approach to the sound, and that's awesome. It's one of my personal favorite subgenres. I just love that sound. It's such a satisfying tone to me, having something that's constantly churning its way through. And then of course the vocalist that really hit me out of nowhere, that I recognized the vocalist, and it being Cassie Williams totally makes sense again. I was like, God, that tone, that voice, I've heard it. But recently especially, her voice and the way she's been singing is different from the stuff I know her from, which is mostly stuff from Ruby. And her more recent work that I've been hearing in the games I cover on a regular basis, she's done a lot of features on many games. She's kind of singing healthier. She's singing in a better range for her voice, not pushing as hard. And I think that's why that high harmony kind of like clicked it for me, because that was something she used to like strain and push her voice to be able to get to certain notes in the Ruby soundtracks, especially in the early days, and now she knows how to handle those better. She's done training and probably worked on her technique a lot, so it's still her obviously, but at the same time it's just a different flavor of her voice. She sounds more comfortable, so it's almost weird to hear that because I'm so used to hearing her kind of struggling to get through certain notes. I think one of my favorite aspects of the song is just the vocal processing on it, using a lot of compression, just crushing the vocals to be able to handle all of that peaking sound and snapping it down into a more leveled bass. It gives this really neat kind of broken speaker texture to everything that was being sung. And then Grabbitz would put his little vocal samples in there of himself that was like, woo, like doing that, and then again crushing that, just compressing the ever-loving hell out of it. It almost sounds like a synth, not a voice, especially since it's a different voice underneath the main singer, and it's just like, oh, that's different. It can't be another person. It is. It's definitely Grabbitz. That's just a neat application of how to handle that situation. They could have used a synth, but it almost added a little bit more personality, just throwing a voice in there doing the same thing, having a little bit of a texture in there, like that vocal texture that only humans have, adds something to that, especially in all of that compression. There's a little bit more of this grit to it that just exists, and you can sure synthesize that, but it just won't have the same effect. So that's neat, using that as like an extra additional thing instead of just taking the easy way out and making it a synth and just slapping that in there. I think the sample fits so much better in the vibe of this song as well, and it worked really well with her voice because they do blend fairly well. Even when his voice came in to do the rap section in the middle, I didn't really put two and two together that that's who that was because I haven't heard them in a while, but at the same time it totally makes sense now. That's exactly Grabbitz's style. He loves to throw in vocals, doing them himself, having rap sections. That totally makes sense. I can't believe I didn't recognize him before. And I also really like how they handled the vocal harmonies for the chorus, especially because they just kind of let Cassie sit up on the tonic note and just the whole way through. Like, I can't get that high obviously, but at the same time just locking into that note and just holding that up there and backing it off in the mix too, like allowing her voice to stay very present with some of the other harmonies kind of locking in closer to each other in that normal range of the melody, and then making these super high ones. Like, she was going up like maybe 2 octaves almost, and those were like really soft up there in the background. I'm not sure if she was actually singing some of those notes or if they just took like one of the lower takes and then pitched it up in Melodyne or something. Either way, it's adding that texture again, just like when Grabbitz was making his own voice part of that like scooping little accent that he would sample in there himself, and it just works really well. It ties everything together. This has such a good texture, and it's a consistent texture all the way through. I was honestly surprised there wasn't as much bass during like the parts of the pre-chorus and everything as it was building in, but then it kind of made sense that it's a very tight kick drum, and most of the bass was the bass line, and the kick drum was kind of acting as like a side chain accent to the bass line. So you're getting all that pumping and that cranking through that motion, but you don't need all of that low resonance of like a full bass sample if you have a bass line that's that resonant and low as it is. But I also think that's getting a little bit too technical. Either way, I love this song. It's such a good texture. I love the way it sounds. I, again, have been hearing a lot of songs similar to this recently, so I like that this is like a little mini section of my channel where we're getting a lot of these more retro sounds and doing things like this that experiment with the tones and what you can get away with compression, because there's so much to be done there and so many ways you can distort to make things sound a lot more unique, but you'll never know if you don't try them out. So that's why experimenting is fun. And that's why this song, albeit it sounds very similar and very thematically accurate to a lot of other songs I've heard in the same genre, there's definitely things in there that are just unapologetically Grabbitz approach to that, like having those vocal stems in there and those specific harmonies, just stacking those like crazy. So like that's a very him thing to do. So it's just cool to hear that and hear a different producer handle a similar genre is always interesting. So like never listen to one person in any genre, in any scene. Always give a bunch of people a chance, because they're all going to do something a little bit unique with it, a very personal approach to every single genre. But I think I've yapped enough, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you have something else from Wuthering Waves you want me to get to, by all means drop it in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!